Hey, everybody. This is Heidi St. John. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm glad you guys have joined me for the Off the Bench podcast today because I have a brand new friend on the show, someone I've followed on social media for a long time, have a tremendous amount of respect for, both for her message and for her chutzpah. Christine Yeargin's on the show with me today. You guys, this is going to be a power-packed episode. Stick around. I think you're going to be encouraged. So welcome to the show today. Before I get started, I want to remind you guys, we've got a brand new study coming up at Mom Strong International. This is going to be a perfect opportunity as we talk to Christine today for you guys to kind of get a window into what's happening around the country with regard to our children, with regard to the fight for the pro-life movement, which will now go on in a completely different format since the United States Supreme Court has rightly decided that was never their decision to make in the first place. This is how I got to know Christine Yeargin. She is an incredible culture warrior, someone who's speaking the truth loudly into the margins of culture. After an unplanned pregnancy, Christine Yeargin became passionate about the pro-life movement. Recognizing a need, she founded Be There Village and works to connect women in unplanned pregnancies to resources in their area and uses the pro-life community that she's built on social media to complete baby registries for women who reject abortion and choose life. She's the host of the Speak Out podcast, which is powered by Students for Life. She currently lives in Colorado with her husband and 3 kids. Christine, my friend, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you. I've been wanting to have you on for a long time. People tag me in your posts all the time, and they're like, you got to get Christine on your show. And I'm just so excited that it worked out today. Tell us a little bit about, because this is your first time on my show and maybe new to some of my audience. Tell us a little bit about who you are and how you became so passionate about the pro-life movement.
Sure. Well, first off, I'm glad you're a fan of my stuff because there's a lot of people, as you can imagine, who are not fans of my stuff and who get very angry at things that I post. But that's the nature of walking a line that some deem controversial. So I host a podcast. I do a lot on social media. I am very involved in the pro-life movement. I work for Students for Life, and that's who powers my podcast. But what really pushed me into this world, this pro-life world, is I was 20 years old and I had my own unplanned pregnancy. And I really felt the fear of the unknown. I felt happy. I felt scared. I felt, every emotion you could think. You're like, well, why are you happy? Well, you know that you're creating a life, but also like, scared what's going to happen. The father wasn't involved and didn't want to be involved. He, in fact, pressured me to have an abortion and offered me $50,000 to have the abortion. And I said, you can take that money and shove it up your bleep. And and I have a 14-year-old son today because of it, which is so beautiful. But I know what it feels like to kind of be uncertain. And that is what has wanted me or made me want to help other women and be that support for other women, because I know not every woman has the support. My parents were supportive, fortunately, but not everybody has the support of the father if they want to choose life, or the support of their parents. And I kind of want to do that. And I have a fairly big social media following. I started speaking out about being pro-life, and it just kind of went hand in hand. There were women who told me, hey, I canceled my abortion appointment. And I was like, that's amazing. But what else can I do to help? Like, how else can I help you? If you cancel this appointment, I'm glad you did that. But obviously you had the appointment for a reason. You were fearful for a reason, or you thought you couldn't do it for a reason. How can I step in and help? How can I use my followers and rally them to help? And I just went out on a limb and I was like, hey guys, there's this mom who canceled an abortion appointment. What do you think about buying everything for her off of her baby registry? She's scheduled it in part because of finances. So I'm thinking, okay, I got a lot of pro-life followers. I don't know if they're going to go for this or not, but like maybe we can buy some of the stuff or contribute some money, buy diapers and wipes. We filled the entire registry, car seat, stroller, crib, swing, activity mat, diapers and wipes for a year, you name it, we covered it, and it filled within 24 hours. And I had people upset that they weren't able to give after that 24 hours because everything was already filled. And I had people saying, let's do this again, let's do this again. And so I said, okay, I'm just going to kind of shift my platform and just talk about pro-life stuff and parental stuff. And if you guys want to keep giving, I'll keep finding these women to give too. So I partner with pregnancy resource centers in my area, and they let me know, hey, this woman was abortion minded. She ended up choosing life. She's financially unstable. Can you help us? And when they bring a woman to me, then I step in and we do the baby registry. We get high quality items. I don't do the like cheapy stuff. A lot of people will say, oh, we can buy more for them if you do, really garbage clothing. And I do all organic, non-toxic stuff. I make sure it's high quality diapers and wipes. I don't like toxins in my kids' products, so I make sure that it's not in the products for the babies, excuse me, the mothers that we're giving the items to. So it's really good stuff, all brand new. And it usually now, some of the baby registries will fill in about 45 minutes.
Wow, that's amazing. So you really are, I love this because it really counters the pro-abortion movement saying, oh, the pro-life movement's really just pro-birth. Like, we don't care about these mothers or their babies. We're just pro-birth, which is a garbage argument, just a straw man argument to deflect from it.
Here's what I say with that is, sure, we are pro-birth. We're pro-natural birth. That's not anything offensive. You're telling me I'm pro-birth. Yes, I do want this baby to be born. That doesn't mean I don't also care about the mother. And the thing is, it's natural birth. When you think about abortion is forced birth to a dead baby. And that's pretty graphic, but that's what it is. You still have to give birth. That baby's coming out one way or another, whether it's alive or dead. We just want the baby to come out alive naturally.
Well, and it really stands as a stark contrast to the conversation that's being had in the pro-abortion industry, which really is promoting a culture of death. And we're seeing how that's playing out because we're telling our young people that their babies have no value, that they evolved from a monkey, and so therefore we're no different than the animals. And so this has implications across the board, all the way up to our elderly who are being pushed into euthanasia now. We've got all kinds of issues because we've fostered a culture of death in the country. And what you're coming in and saying is, no, these lives have purpose. They have value. Every life is valuable. And it really does counteract the quote unquote pro-birth argument, because what they're saying is, I like that you said that's actually something that we're proud of because it is. But what they're really saying is, you just want the baby to be born. Then after that, you don't care if it starves to death. You don't care if it's born into, a home where that child's going to be mistreated or beaten or whatever. And I always tell people, listen, I came from an abusive home. My father abused me for my entire growing up. Does it mean that I wish that someone had killed me before I was born? No. Do I want to go back and do that again? No. But I have a story to tell, and my story is a story of grace and a story of mercy and a story of overcoming because I have experienced the power and love and forgiveness of Jesus Christ. And so what we're saying is we're going to give these kids a chance at life. And the church does a really phenomenal job of coming alongside these mothers and their babies and supporting them long after they're born.
Absolutely. What's funny about the people, or not funny, I guess, very ironic and hypocritical, the people who say that we don't care about the baby after we're born. I get a lot of those messages. I get a lot of trolls and I respond to them and I say, okay, actually, I do something different here on my page. I actually do care for them after they're born. I've even babysat for some of the moms once the baby's here. I've been involved with them, make sure they have formula. Like, I don't just drop off once the baby's born. That's not a thing. But I go to them and the trolls, and I say, we have another mom that we're getting ready to help. I'm getting ready to post the baby registry. Would you like to donate? Immediately, I'm either blocked or they ghost me or they delete their comment. Or even when they say that they'll do it, occasionally, very rarely, like 1% of the time, someone will be like, oh yeah, sure. I care about women. Of course I'll donate. So I send them a link before I send it to anybody else, but they never purchase anything. So They're saying that you don't care about the women or the babies after they're born or care about these women. And they're not even willing to lift a finger for them, but they're pointing it at you. And they want nothing to do with what the woman is doing. We did a baby registry for a woman, and her situation was really sad. She had 3 kids with her husband. She was pregnant again. Her husband said if she didn't abort the 4th baby, he was leaving. And she did not want to abort, and so he left. And so we did a baby registry for her. Her 1-year-old went into surgery right before she gave birth. It was a very unfortunate situation, a very cowardly man, and I pray for him daily that he comes around and is a better father to all of his children, all 4 of them, and a husband to his wife. But I wanted to do something more for her. So I did what I call a $1 challenge because, inflation is crazy. Thanks, Joe Biden.
Thank you, Joe Biden.
Yeah. So not everybody can give $50 or $100, but I feel like most everybody can donate $1. So I did a $1 challenge, and we ended up in about 24 hours raising $13,000 for this mom. And we gave it to her to help with rent or whatever she needed to help with her babies since her husband left her. And there was a woman who commented and said, that's not enough. That's not going to raise the baby for 18 months. And I said, you're right. It's not going to raise the baby for 18 months. Would you like to donate and help out? Immediately blocked me. They want you to fix the world's problems, but they're not willing to fix anything at all. They're not willing to lift their finger to help. So it really is just projecting. And if they did 10 minutes of digging into the pro-life movement, they would see what we do. And they would see that we do support these women. It's just a talking point. It's just to try to pull one over on us. But you have to kind of push past that and say, you know what? No, we do help them. And we're going to invite you to help them as well.
I love it. I love it. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. So, Christine, right before the break, we were talking about we do help these women. You see now, I know like I do, a tremendous opportunity in the reversal of Roe v. Wade coming down from the Supreme Court, something that we've been praying about. I've been praying about since I first heard about abortion as a young girl. Where do you see? I feel like the wind is at the back of the pro-life movement right now. Certainly science is on our side, right? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to look into the womb now, and we can see human development. We have a huge wall here at the Homeschool Resource Center. My friend Ken Ham from Answers in Genesis sent me a small replica of what they've done at the Creation Museum in cataloging fetal development, so that when the students come here to the Homeschool Resource Center, they can see what fetal development looks like and what the Bible says about the unborn. The Bible has a lot to say about the preciousness of human life. Where do you see the pro-life movement going now on the heels of the reversal of Roe v. Wade?
We're winning. I'll just say that. When you look at what's happening all over the country and states all over, and I want to be clear, the reversal of Roe, and I'm sure you've touched on it on your podcast before since it's been reversed, but it does not outlaw abortion. And that's what the pro-abortion activists are telling everybody, abortion is banned or women are getting in trouble for looking for birth control. That's not what it does. Right. Back to the states. And states all over the country now are banning abortion. They're enacting pro-life laws. And that forces people to think, okay, well, why is abortion legal in my state, like here in Colorado, but it's illegal elsewhere? Like when it's just legal everywhere, you're not really forced to think about it in that way. But this kind of forces people to think about it. And I think that we're going to see more and more people waking up at Students for Life. We're seeing more and more young people become pro-life activists. They're on fire for life. They're fighting for this in their states, in their cities, in their counties. And Gen Z is one of the most pro-life generations now. The problem that I see, though, is that, like you were talking about earlier, everybody has inherent value. Right now, kids don't know that their value comes from God, and they don't know that they're inherently valuable, and they don't know their identity, and they're looking for it in the world. So if they don't know that they are God's child and that they are inherently valuable, that's where we're seeing some of the younger generation struggle if they do become pregnant, because they don't know who they are. I mean, they're identifying as a they, or they're identifying as a furry or whatever, and they're not finding their true identity in God. And so they're looking for it everywhere. And that really kind of can put a damper on, yes, we know that this baby is a baby. We know that we know the fetal development. We do have a window into the womb via ultrasound. But if the person who's pregnant, a young woman who's pregnant at 16, 17, doesn't even know her own identity, and how valuable she is, she's not going to see the value of her preborn baby. So what we need to do is really push these kids to find their identity in Christ and know who they are, because it's not out there in the world.
This is interesting. As you're talking, the news is breaking out of California. The San Diego Times is just reporting that the California legislature has just approved a package of 13 bills that protect abortion access. It says that they're aimed at protecting abortion rights in the most populous U.S. state, which is California. But it would also allow trained nurse practitioners and midwives to perform first trimester abortions without a doctor present. Other measures would end criminal prosecutions and investigations for terminating pregnancies and set up state websites to help people navigate the process of finding and paying for an abortion. How do we combat this kind of stuff? Because we're going to see this more and more. I mean, I live here in Washington State, one of the worst states for abortion activism in the entire nation, probably second only to California. Oregon's not far behind. What do you say to people like me who live in these states? I mean, Colorado's not exactly a shining beacon of hope for the pro-life movement, but God has put people like you in Colorado and people like me in Washington State to stand for life. And I think it's easy to get discouraged. I mean, certainly you look at this stuff. If I lived in California, I'd be crying. I mean, between what they've just passed with restricting doctors now who can no longer practice medicine conscientiously. They have to do whatever the state says. Hey, this is the narrative of the day. And if you don't agree with the narrative, you're going to lose your medical license. Things are getting really real in California. What do you say to people who are listening to this today who just go, you know what, this is just the way the culture's going?
It can feel exhausting and it can feel defeating. And I live in Colorado where they just enshrined, their goal is to enshrine abortion in our state constitution, but they basically just protected abortion for all 9 months, any reason at any time. It was already legal here, but they did something where they protected it, and you essentially can't really go after abortion now. And they're looking to put it in the state constitution. I'm sure California's not far behind with that one as well. But what they're doing is they debunk themselves, really, when they say that we care about a woman. It's about a woman's right. It's a woman, between a woman and her doctor. But now we're allowing midwives to do it. Now we're allowing nurses to do it. Now we're sending them things in the mail where they can have their own abortion at home without checking if she has an ectopic pregnancy. They don't actually care about women. And what this boils down to is Planned Parenthood is in the pockets of your state legislature.
Absolutely.
Planned Parenthood is in the pockets of your politicians, and you have to hold them accountable. It is exhausting to do so, but if you care about this issue, you have to hold them accountable. You have to put your money where your mouth is and donate to and vote for candidates who are willing to stand for life. You have to help door knock for them. You have to campaign for them. You have to get involved in states where it's that big, like California, like Washington, like Colorado. You have to rally the masses because they need to know that you're going to hold them accountable. They need to know that, hey, you're voting for all this abortion stuff. We're not going to stand for that. We don't want that. We don't want babies 2 weeks out of the womb to be killed and you guys don't investigate it. That is unacceptable. I would hope that that's unacceptable even for people on the left, because it's just unreal. In California, that's one of the things that they're doing is they changed the word prenatal to perinatal. And that way, if a baby is killed up to, I think perinatal, I forget exactly how many weeks after birth, but it's multiple weeks after birth, at least a month, that if a baby is found maybe in a dumpster, there is no investigation. You cannot go investigate the mother. And that to me is problematic because that is no longer a woman's right or my body, my choice. That is no longer, the baby's in my uterus. I get to make that decision. No, that baby is separate from the mother now. And if you're willing to kill a baby or be okay with not investigating the death of a newborn that is outside of the body, California has way bigger problems than just abortion because now they're killing. To them, what they're saying is the baby, once it's outside of the body, it's a new life, and they're willing to admit it's a human then, but now they're willing to kill the baby.
Yeah, they're saying it has no rights, which I find so amusing, coming from the movement that says that it's for the rights of women, unless that child happens to be preborn or unless that child happens to be 2 or 3 or 6 weeks old. They're saying that these little ones have no rights. And you're correct. I was just looking at this a little bit further. The legislature has also placed a proposed constitutional amendment on the November ballot, which would enshrine abortion rights in the state constitution in California. This is serious stuff, and it's spiritual warfare from sunup to sundown. The enemy has a foothold right now in this country. We've seen this coming for a very long time, but I believe we have reason to hope because of women like you and because of the movement that is not going away. The abortion activists and Planned Parenthood thought they had this thing in the bag. They never thought that they would live to see Roe v. Wade overturned. I'll be honest, I didn't think it would happen either. I was surprised and blown away and thrilled. So we have reason to hope and we have reason to be encouraged, but it means we're going to have to stay engaged. Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, we absolutely have to stay engaged. And it's not just the abortion issue. It's so many other issues that we care about as well. If we let up, they're going to get comfortable. Even some of the politicians who say that they're pro-life, if we don't stay on them, they're going to get comfortable. They're going to steer away from any issue that's deemed controversial by society. And they're going to get comfy in their office, and they're not going to go after that. So you have to go in, you set a meeting with your politician, and you say, hey, we voted you in because of XYZ. You're not doing this. I want to know why. I want to know what we can do to get you back on track. And if you don't do this, I'm going to put the fear of God in you and we're going to vote you out. And that's what you need to do, and hold these people accountable, because they make these promises and they need to keep those promises.
Yeah, they really do. And what this is, and we're almost out of time for today, but what this is really is an assault on our children. And we've seen this now since 1972, when the Supreme Court wrongfully legalized abortion. We're watching it continue in states like Oregon and California and Washington and Colorado. This absolute full-on assault against the most innocent among us, which really are our children. I'd love for you to come back on Monday and talk with me about Title IX. Before the show, you and I were talking about that. This is another way that our children are being attacked, but we are not without recourse in this country. We still have the opportunity to let our voices be heard. It's one of the things I love so much about you. Would you be willing to come back on Monday and discuss Title IX with me, and we'll give some parents some good instruction on how they can help us win this fight?
Yeah, let's do it.
I love that. Christine, where can people find you online? If they're interested in helping with your baby registries and supporting your ministry, where's the best place for them to find you?
Right now, it's solely on social media. I don't know how long I'm going to be in Colorado, so I haven't filed with the state to make a true nonprofit yet, but it's a social media movement. I post on my Facebook or on my Instagram when I have a mother and say, hey, she chose life. Here's a little bit about her story. You can donate. So at Christine Yeargin is my Instagram handle, and I believe it's the same on Facebook, Facebook/Christine Yeargin. So that's where you can find me, or ChristineYeargin.com.
Awesome. I'm going to link back to that in the show notes today. You are a national treasure. I love to have people on the show who are stepping out. It takes courage to stand for life in the culture right now. It takes courage to tell the truth. But you know what? This is no different than it's always been, to stand for what God says is right. I appreciate so much of what you're doing, and I'll look forward to seeing you back here on Monday.
We'll see you on Monday.
You guys, thank you so much for listening. For more information about Christine Yeargin, I'm going to link back to her social media accounts in the show notes today. I want to encourage you, get involved. It's not enough for us to say that we're pro-life. We need to start putting some feet to our faith. And I believe that when faith finds its feet in this generation, we're going to live to see miracles. Hang in there, you guys. Love your families well. Have a great weekend. I'll see you back here again at the intersection of faith and culture on Monday.